defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial. There's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. Murderer. And what went down at the chief's office 2 years ago. I wonder how close we are to finishing this case. Oh, let me see. I find it interesting that trials are usually supposed to be finished up in 3 days, aren't they? And this one's already on day 4. Let me see. Okay, I think it's almost done. Almost. Yeah, I think I am. I think we just have like 3 more parts left. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry, phone call. This is the defendant's lobby, all right, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. I don't know who's talking. Oh, it's Edgeworth. You had a meatball sub at Subway. Oh man, it's almost dinner time for me. I mean, I'm home alone, so I'll probably end up just eating in front of the computer, talking to you guys instead of eating with somebody else, but yeah.
Edgeworth, knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 777777 ID number is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt on this ID record. There we go. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. On the defendant. 5 minutes after the trial starts, Lana will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright? This is it.
Okay, I think someone's renovating something. I think I just heard something. Anyways,
If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now.
Oh, no, guys, I can see. I'm not really here to post pictures of myself and, basically sell my image. I'm just here to play games and have a good time and stuff. If you think my voice is hot, I'm very flattered. Thank you. Thank you. It's just, I'm not here to flash pictures of myself and stuff like that. That's not something I do.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution's ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Morning, folks! How's everyone doing? Hey, Udgy, been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Oh, that's a good one! Don't think I could top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant?
I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished.
Well then, what's your request?
Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial.
Huh?
I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman. In the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office.
No, Lana!
Knock, 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 objection. You can't! Your Honor, you can't. My you can't was so weak, I'm sorry.
Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea.
In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services.
But Lana!
Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please.
Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Unpresidential. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial. Even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Objection!
Thank you, Edgeworth.
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony.
Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue.
I don't care what you think, Miss Sky. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Sky, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation.
My name's Emma Sky. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator.
2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct?
Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial.
I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
Cool, but I think I should save my game really quick, because I haven't saved in a while. But, like, who's doing renovation stuff at 7:30 at night, really? No, I don't need to read this. I already read it.
Can you tell us about that?
Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby.
So the electricity went out? Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective?
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago?
Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial.
And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw?
Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture.
A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned this before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough?
Really? At 12 a.m.? I guess it's because we've been, like, doing some renovation stuff all day here for the past few days in my house, so I'm kind of like, stop. No more power tools.
This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important message. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you still insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold. This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that?
Hey, it's the picture I drew!
Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists. They're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order! Order! Who'd have thought the picture would have been drawn on the back of the list?
That was handed to Dance the Revolution. That was handed to help, please. That was handed to Detective Goodman in the questioning room.
Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half...
DDD, King DDD. Detectide.
Then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask?
Edgeworth's gonna explode like a volcano.
Sorry, Your Honor. There's something drawn on the back of my list. This is that thing! That's that thing! That thing that was dancing in the evidence room! Apparently, the head of criminal affairs used this for his blueprint. I guess he was out of scrap paper.
For 2 years, Edgeworth never noticed anything on the back of his evidence list. Yeah, pretty much. He just never bothered to flip it over.
Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor.
What's wrong with Emma? She seems to be thinking about something when she saw that picture.
Sorry, she seemed. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall, purr. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Okay.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember it like it was just yesterday.
Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us? What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report?
Well, that.
The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. In fact, you don't even have to look closely to see that.
But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too.
If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body.
It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer.
I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
Objection!
Huh? Where could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this?
Objection!
Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. Oh, goddamn it. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was surely...
System failure.
But she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain the inconsistency.
God damn it, Phoenix!
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Order! Order! Order!
Sorry, Evie. I had to clear the chat, guys. No spoilers whatsoever. No spoilers, sorry. I do appreciate it though, Evie. That was really sweet, but no spoilers, please.
Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder.
You're okay, Evie. I'm not mad at you. I just cleared the chat so that it wouldn't, don't think I'm mad at you.
The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased him after him, and was killed by Dark.
Why am I laughing at murder? It's not funny.
It's my belief that somewhere in this story there's a lie.
I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife.
If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon.
Good, you guys didn't notice it. That's fine. If you guys didn't notice it, then that's better.
There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being 2 broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error.
Mr. Wright? Oh, thank you, I tried. I saw it right away and I went, oh, that's cute, but I got a clear chat, so...
In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. It's this picture! The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the awards ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall's holding.
That's a broken knife.
As we earlier concluded, the knife in the picture was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood this award.
This award.
Order! 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 Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and a broken knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out his knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation.
Objection!
But that can't be. Oh? And why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of if the King of Prosecutors' award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh!
Whoops.
But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions.
It's Emma. I knew it. Wait! I remember now. I remember everything.
Witness?
Mr. Edgeworth,
What is it?
could you show me your evidence list again, please?
His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back?
I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it.
What? You drew that?
That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time, I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me.
Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Skye?
Yes, Your Honor.
First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger? This should be interesting.
When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and I rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow.
This is certainly most unusual.
Objection!
Try impossible. The head detective of criminal affairs didn't even design him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Stop! Please! Don't pursue this any further.
Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair.
But you can't do this! I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that?
Chief Prosecutor Sky, we've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant.
It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter.